We've entered an era of what I call brain rot feminism,
I always let my boyfriend make the final call when it comes to big decisions.
where complex social concepts are condensed into either or black and white ideologies that become sound bites that can go viral on social media.
It's 2025, and if you have a boyfriend, you should be embarrassed.
I genuinely don't know what's worse. Whether these women actually believe what they're saying, or if they don't believe what they're saying, but they put out this content so that they can get clout, likes, followers, views, and a hit of dopamine.
And that we never congratulate a woman for getting married.
But I do know this, that this type of content follows a very specific formula, a checklist, if you will, which I'm going to discuss in the episode. And I'm speaking as somebody from the other side. I create content. I've gotten tens of millions of views. I know exactly what these women are doing.
We are now across board agreeing that it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend because you're either single or you're not.
And what they're doing has no consideration for the truth, no consideration for women's liberation, no consideration for whether they're giving you butt crack advice. None of that matters. And what's even worse, if you want to go from worse to worser, this type of thinking is not just restricted to social media and sound bites. It's entered the zeitgeist, and a lot of women, especially young, impressionable women, have picked this up and adopted this type of mindset.
If I want to watch my show on the TV, we're watching my show and he's putting sports on his phone. I am never watching my show on my phone or my laptop. I think that this should be the normal way women should act.
And it's pretty freaking scary.
I always tell people, if your man isn't doing everything, he's not doing enough.
Don't piss me off. Welcome everyone. My name is Nikki. I am your host. I am the baddest bitch in the building, not to be confused with you, who's also the baddest bitch in the building. And if you're new here, this show is about how to unlearn our internalized patriarchy while also finding loopholes in the system that we can exploit. See, because you can have two truths at once. Social media has corrupted our mindsets to think in black and white terms, in either or thinking. And if you've listened to any of my episodes on this show, you know that I talk about either or thinking as a complete and utter social construct because the patriarchy loves either or thinkings. It loves what I call false dichotomies, when we pit two opposing things against one another. In reality, there are very few binaries in this world, but we've all been conditioned now to think in binaries. Just like how a lot of people have started talking like ChatGPT, and honestly, it's really cringe to hear. A lot of people have started thinking like a TikTok, like a soundbite. And that's because it's become so easy to think in these extreme either or ways of thinking, which follows that formula that I discussed and which I'm going to get into more detail in about a minute. And honestly, oh God, I sound like ChatGPT. And honestly, this is why you rarely see me ever posting clips of my episodes on social media. I can't condense a 30-40 minute discussion into a 30-second clip. I just can't do it. It's disrespectful to the craft. But a lot of people don't care. They genuinely do not care. All they care about is the hit of dopamine and the likes and the follows and the views that they get from these extreme black and white either or things that they say. Now, there's this concept called mimetic desire, which was developed by a French academic and philosopher named René Girard. And this concept posits human desire as something that is mimetic, hence the name, rather than intrinsic, which means that what we want is heavily influenced by the people around us. And sometimes not even the people who are physically around us, but by influencers and celebrities. In other words, we're just sheep. Sexy sheep. Now take that mimetic desire and compound it with the fact that we all live in an echo chamber now. Our social media algorithms only show us what we want to see. It only reaffirms our worldviews and our values. If you use ChatGPT or AI, these AI models are literally trained to mirror your language, your worldview, your beliefs. So we're all living in these echo chambers now. And of course, when you see a TikTok of a woman who's sitting in a nice car with a red interior, with her Birkin bag, talking about how she uses men for money, it sounds kind of attractive. And we're likely going to mimic the mindsets that people are presenting to us, especially if they're attractive, both the mindset and the person. So there are 3 major cases of brain rot feminism that have most likely shown up on your feed and may have also crept into your mind. So for the rest of the episode, we're going to go through each of these 3, and we're going to talk about this formula that these content creators are using. So based on my experience, I've identified 3 elements that all these viral posts, or even posts that aren't viral but that got a lot of traction, 3 elements that these posts all have. The first element is that they need to be extreme. And this is for the shock value, but also to hook people. Because the first obstacle is to get people to stop scrolling and actually watch your TikTok or your reel. So you need to have something extreme that makes people stop and say, oh, I wonder what this person is talking about. On top of that, this extreme content is also more likely to get shared. And that's what the algorithm likes, shareable content. And you're also more likely to watch most or all of the video, which tells the algorithm this is both shareable and this is something that people are watching, so you should push it out to more people. The second element is that it needs to be easy to digest. And that's where this black and white either or thinking comes in. Because people are on social media, most likely as a way of taking a break from work or because they're bored and they want a hit of dopamine. And so they don't want things that are going to intellectually stimulate them or make them question things. They want something that's fun, easy to digest, and relatable. And the third element is that these reels or TikToks present an easy solution to a frustration that the viewer has. And as we're going to discuss, these are all what these brain rot reels provide are all easy ways out. And if there's something I learned from my high school math teacher is that the shortcut draws blood, the long cut draws sweat. Obviously, she said it with a Jamaican accent and it carried a lot more gravitas, but you get the idea. There's no such thing as a shortcut. But these people want you to believe that there is. So, in the name of the mother, the daughter, and the baddest bitch, let's get into it.
It's 2025, and if you have a boyfriend, you should be embarrassed. That's the article that came out, that if you have a boyfriend, it is now officially embarrassing. And I could not agree more.
In October 2025, Vogue published an article written by Shantae Joseph called, "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" And just from the title of this article, social media went feral. Now, I've read the article. It is a nuanced read. There's no simple answer to whether it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend. It's not a simple yes or no. The author goes through examples, interviews with other women, and talks about a lot of things. And essentially, to summarize, it's about how having a boyfriend is no longer a status symbol. In fact, it's pretty embarrassing to be male-centered and to make your whole personality and your whole public image on social media about your boyfriend. Read the article if you can get past the paywall on Vogue. It's pretty interesting. I'm sure most people have read it by now. However, social media had a field day with this because the title is extreme. And imagine if you make a TikTok with that title as the caption. People are going to stop their scroll and listen to what you're saying. And it's interesting because women have surpassed men in many ways. Emotional intelligence, income, education. Women are doing just fine for themselves, and being independent, unattached, single is a great way for a lot of women to live their lives. It really is. And so many women are happy, and I'm so happy to see that. And while women have progressed so much, men, unfortunately, and I'm generalizing here, have stagnated in a lot of ways. And it's really interesting. I was talking about this with my mom the other day. In the last few decades, at least in the West, I live in Canada, so my view is shaped by where I live. But over the last few decades, where women's liberation has fought for things like the right to work, the right to go to school, the right to have a bank account, the right to have a credit card in our own name, all these things that have enabled women to become more independent and self-sufficient, in just that short amount of time, look how far women have come. Like, no wonder these losers withheld all these rights from us, because in about 4 or 5 decades, women surpassed what men have been doing for millennia. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, back to the boyfriend debate. Social media had an absolute field day with this topic, and TikTok and Instagram exploded with content about how having a boyfriend is embarrassing. Being with a man is a humiliation ritual. You're not a girl's girl if you have a man. How having a boyfriend automatically makes you male-centered. You notice how it's getting more and more extreme? And again, to be fair, in a lot of cases, being with a man literally ruins your aura, literally drags you down. But we can also give a more nuanced view of this and discuss how men have stagnated or regressed in some cases, in part because of the patriarchy. Like, how is it that you lack basic skills like empathy and housekeeping, knowing how to wash dishes or cook a meal or keep your place clean, or thinking that doing a comb over is an acceptable way of dealing with your baldness? And I'm not saying that they have no fault. I'm not saying they don't have free will. I'm not saying they're not benefactors of patriarchy. But we can get a little bit more nuanced than that. Anyway, I'm not going to fall into that rabbit hole, because the rabbit hole we're falling into is this whole discourse of having a boyfriend as a humiliation ritual. I've even seen some TikToks about how just having a boyfriend, full stop, is embarrassing and unacceptable. I'm sorry, if you want to eventually get married, you're gonna have to have a boyfriend as a trial period to see if you want to marry the dude. Like, be so for real. Don't piss me off. And there's something deeper within this discourse. To me, it seems like judgment, because we've gone from one extreme, which is the boyfriend as a status symbol and that extreme of being male-centered, to another extreme, which is that having a boyfriend is a form of social suicide. Again, either or thinking, black and white thinking. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the real world. So while we've gone away from being male-centered, which is great, we're now centered on people's opinions and judgments about us. People are now so caught up in judging women for their relationship choices and their choice of partner. And to be clear, this is women making these judgments, not men. But we're so caught up in judging people's lives and judging them based on how they're living their lives that's not in line with the way we would live our lives, which sounds like a form of projection to me, that we forget that we don't know anything about these people. For example, a few months ago, people were going crazy about this influencer named MJ Gray. I don't follow her or consume any of her content, so excuse my ignorance, but she had made some posts about not getting married. She was very vocal that women shouldn't get married. And then she got engaged. And people were having a field day ripping her to shreds. Now, I don't know the nuances of this story. I don't know any of the details, so correct me if I'm wrong. But from the outside, it seemed like people were just being really harsh and passing judgment on someone they know nothing about. You don't know anything about that person aside from what they consciously choose to post on social media. So we need to stop thinking that we know people on a deeper level than just what they post online. And I really don't think that judging women and patronizing them is really going to make them see reason and unlearn how they've been brainwashed. If anything, it pushes people to be more defensive and to stand their ground and to not want to change. And what I think is happening now is that a lot of women are not opting out of relationships. They're just getting better at hiding them and managing the PR of their relationships, managing the optics of it, especially online. So it's just become this whole performative thing now, as if women needed more performance on top of all the performances that are expected of us. And this discourse also encourages a lot of women to lie to themselves. Because I think a lot of women still want to have a partner. They still want to get married. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But a lot of women are lying to themselves about what they want in life. And I talk about how romantic love is a recruitment strategy in the patriarchy. I did a whole episode on that. I'll link it below. I also did a whole episode on the science behind falling in love, the neuroscience, and the chemical reaction that basically happens in your brain, because that's what falling in love is. It's a chemical reaction to get you to reproduce. It just wants you to sit on the dick. So there's a lot of nuance that goes into both the biological and social elements of this. And yes, romantic love is a myth. However, love in the sense of just pure love, not romantic love, but love for yourself, love for the people around you, love for the world, the earth, the truth, love for women's liberation, love for knowledge, whatever it is. Love is where we came from. And I discussed this in a recent episode called The Ancients Discovered a Loophole in the Patriarchy. Okay, to be honest, I can't remember the names of a lot of my episodes. I'll link that down below as well. But essentially, there are 5 truths universally found in a lot of ancient texts. And one of them is that love is the truth and fear is the illusion. And we all come from love. We are all born deserving all the love in the world and being the embodiment of love. But as we're socialized into this butt crack system, and as we grow up, we are socialized into fear, into anger, into hatred. And that's not the right way to live our lives. Of course, not being male-centered is very important and actually helps you get into better relationships. But a lot of women are lying to themselves. They're thinking that all they want is an ATM. All they want is a guy who's going to provide for them and a guy who's going to be a source of financial stability. Let's focus on becoming rich men rather than looking for rich men, and then actually finding a partner who can be a best friend or a companion to us and hopefully unlearn their internalized patriarchy with us. Okay, remember the formula I was talking about? Let's revisit that now. Is this type of content extreme? Yes, it's very black or white. It is humiliating to have a boyfriend. Second thing, is it easy to digest? Yeah, I mean, you've taken a whole nuanced article and spat out the headline with no qualifications or exceptions. That's pretty easy to digest. And does it feed off of a frustration that we have and provide an easy way out? Indeed it does. Just completely opt out. Do not look critically at yourself. Do not look critically at other people. It's just embarrassing to have a boyfriend. And you're not a girl's girl if you decide to have a man. It's really just become a glamorized way of policing women's behavior. And I'm actually going to talk a lot more about this with the last case of brain rot feminism. Now, this actually leads me to the next case of brain rot feminism, which is the as he should epidemic.
Double standards I have in my relationship, I have a lot. Number 1, I have my partner's location, but he does not have mine. If I want to go shopping and spend money, I can do that because being with a woman who carries herself well is literally social currency for men. Like, you can argue with the wall, but if he wants to spend his money on clothes and outfits, like, that's weird. What are you doing? Like, why are you buying clothes? You don't need clothes. Like, I need clothes. You can wear the same thing. I think that this should be the normal way women should act. I always tell people, if your man isn't doing everything, he's not doing enough.
I'm not sure what was more annoying about that video, the annoying sound of her brush tapping on the palette, or the actual content of it. As a side note, I don't know if I'm just a highly sensitive person and being a wackadoodle, but I cannot stand TikToks and reels and talking videos of people who are doing their makeup while they're talking. It just seems so performative to me. It's the same as seeing videos with women who have those under eye patches. I don't know, maybe I'm just being crazy, but it annoys me so much. And as soon as I see somebody doing a talking video while they're doing their makeup or having the performative under eye patches, I'm like, this woman is about to say some nonsense. And in this case, I was right. Okay, women have improved their standards. I think collectively, a lot of the things that we viewed as nice to haves a little while ago, a few years ago, are now must haves. And we're not falling for the whole 50-50 nonsense. We're not settling for losers as much as we used to. And we've raised the bar on what the bare minimum is. And I think that's really, really great. It makes me so happy to see women understanding that they are the prize and being treated like princesses and queens. I love that. It makes me so happy. And I think that's a collective win for all the baddies. However, this as you should rhetoric is not productive. Dare I say, it is counterproductive. Because being a woman does not automatically make you a good person, and it does not automatically make you entitled to someone's time, effort, and money. To be clear, we're all born deserving all the love in the world, deserving all the good things that the world has to offer. Everyone is deserving of that. However, being a woman doesn't automatically make you a good person, just like being a man doesn't automatically make you a bad person. And this as he should mentality is really dangerous because it takes us into the what I call the femininity to entitlement pipeline. It makes us think that just existing is enough, and ultimately it does a disservice to ourselves more than to anyone else because it completely ignores the fact that we have a lot of work to do on ourselves. And we owe it to ourselves to figure that out first before getting involved with another person. Because for most women, from the time we were little girls, we've been socialized to hate ourselves, to be insecure, to have low self-esteem. And as adults, it is our responsibility to ourselves to go back to the love that we once were, to get back our color. The world painted us over with its gray brush. And until you become colorful again, there's very few meaningful things you can do. So becoming colorful involves developing unconditional self-love and doing the work to unlearn the ways that the patriarchy has groomed you, unlearn your internalized patriarchy, and become the best version of yourself, and to continually become the best version of yourself. So just existing is not enough. And if you don't love yourself, like RuPaul said, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get a woman up in here? But for real, if you don't love yourself, you don't even know what love is. Don't piss me off. And this touches on a superstition that a lot of women have. I think that a lot of people have in general, men and women. It's something I discuss in my book. I have 6 superstitions that I identified. And each chapter, just like the false dichotomies, each chapter starts with outlining which superstitions we also need to unlearn. And one of these superstitions is, if someone loves me, then I'll finally be enough. Right? If somebody loves you, then wow, now you can love yourself. But you're seeking something externally that can only truly be achieved internally. And that is a very harmful way of thinking. And that's also how a lot of us end up in situations that are not good for us. Because usually bum people, a bum bitch will normally attract a bum loser, and 2 bums don't make a right. I can speak from experience. When I had no self-love, I had a lot of self-hatred, and I ended up with somebody who also had a lot of self-hatred, and we were in a very toxic relationship, and at times it was pretty emotionally manipulative and abusive. So you can't do anything until you fully love yourself. And the right guy is not gonna want a lot from you. He's probably just gonna want to feel wanted and appreciated and loved. It's the Dakotas, the girly boys. Dakota is one of my characters. It's the guy with the Van Cleef bracelet. It's the guy who wants to be really pretty. It's the guy who a lot of people would say is secretly closeted. Actually, that whole discourse around how most men are gay is also a soundbite and really fascinating to get into, because I think patriarchy has socialized men to seek male approval and male validation above everything else. But that's another rabbit hole that we're not going to fall into today. But the Dakotas, forget about them, okay? They want material things. They think they're the prize. They most likely want another man because they're fiending for male validation. But the more respectable dudes who hopefully are unlearning their internalized patriarchy are probably not going to want much from you. Because to be clear, being with a woman is already social currency, and being with a woman usually makes a man's life better, especially being with a self-loving, confident, self-actualized woman. And patriarchy already makes most men give a piece of their humanity in exchange for their patriarchal dividends. So it's harmful to replicate that dynamic in an intimate relationship with somebody who's supposedly one of the closest people in your life. And I see a lot of discourse around how women just want a provider man, just want a partner for the financial aspect of it. And that recreates patriarchal patterns in that relationship. But it also seems like a lot of these women, some of them explicitly, some of them implicitly, are driven by a sense of revenge. They want to get their patriarchal dividends and they want to make men pay for the suffering that women have endured. It's almost like reparations. And I understand there's so much to be angry about. There's so much rightful anger that women have. But operating based on anger, hatred, resentment, revenge, that's not going to get you any closer to the love that we have to return to. So that's just going to recreate toxicity in your life. And to be clear, there are certain things that are important to do, especially in the early stages of dating, so that we can set boundaries, we can set the right precedents, and we can train that guy to be a good boy. And again, I don't believe in doing things for men, like building them up, contributing to their lives financially. I don't believe in any of those things, but I do believe that they should feel loved and wanted and appreciated. He should buy you flowers. He should take you out. He should spoil you. He should treat you like a queen. He should treat you like a princess. But he should also feel appreciated for doing those things. So let's revisit our checklist. Is this extreme? I would say it's pretty extreme, especially when you consider that now, like, everything is the bare minimum. But it's more extreme in the sense that it's very black and white. I keep saying black or white, black and white. I'm thinking of the Michael Jackson song. Hee hee. But it's very black or white, either or. Either he does all these things for you or he's a terrible dude. You should get rid of him. Is it easy to digest? Absolutely. It's actually something that a lot of women want to hear, especially after all the male-centered crap we've had to deal with over the past few decades with movies and all this discourse about how women need to find a man and the Prince Charming, la la la. Very easy to digest. I even fell down this trap for a while. And of course, this feeds off of a frustration that a lot of women have, and it provides us an easy way out.
If you do any of these things, then I assume that you're a girl's girl. First, if you compliment random girls when they're just walking by, I don't think there's any greater confidence boost than when you get complimented by just a random girl on the street. If you ask me for a haul after my shopping day, then you already know what I'm gonna say. You're a girl's girl. I think you're a girl's girl if somebody compliments your outfit and you automatically tell them where it's from.
So a girl's girl is supposed to be the opposite of a pick-me. A pick-me is a woman who's male-centered. A girl's girl is a woman who's woman-centered. And if this sounds like an either-or binary, a false dichotomy, that's because it is. Because what if I want to be self-centered? I can't be a good woman to other people. I can't be a member of the sisterhood and contribute to collective liberation if I haven't even gotten my own shit figured out. And the term girl's girl originated from something good, from uplifting other women, being part of the sisterhood, having a sense of community with other women, which is great. I think we should all do that, and we should all see women as allies rather than competitors. But over the last year or so, it's devolved and derailed into something ugly. It's a way of policing women's behaviors, of keeping everybody in line, and of shaming women who don't exhibit the right behaviors. At the core of being a girl's girl, in the warped sense of the term, is a performance that we have to be nice and agreeable. And niceness is a performance to uphold social harmony. It's not the same as kindness. Kindness comes from empathy. So this new warped way of being a girl's girl is essentially patriarchy with a cute pink bow on top of it. It's like a nice decorated box that we've put ourselves into, because we can't call out bad behavior from women. We can't critically discuss things that women do that are also wrong, because that makes you a pick-me. You're not a girl's girl. It's almost misogynistic to hold women accountable for things. And another YouTuber said this really, really well. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Lindsay Ann. She said in her video called Why I'm Not a Girl's Girl, You can't critique the expectation of agreeableness without being disagreeable. And being disagreeable is the one thing that kicks you out of the sisterhood. And that captures so well how being a girl's girl has become a way of policing one another's behaviors. And she used an example in her video of this woman who was sharing a story of some random stranger she ran into, and she asked her where she got her boots, and the stranger wouldn't tell her. So this woman posted a TikTok about it, and people were talking about how she's not a girl's girl, why is she gatekeeping, la la la. Even brands picked up on it and started branding their marketing around how they don't gatekeep stuff, la la la. I'm like, is this what it's come to? What is this doing for liberation? But like, I don't care where you got your boots from. I don't care where you got your lip gloss from. What are you doing to unlearn your internalized patriarchy? What are you doing to prevent yourself from reproducing patriarchy in your life and in your interactions with other people? Are you critically looking at the power structures in place? Are you critically looking at the ways you've been socialized? Are you critically looking at the steady diet of lies that you've been fed over your life? I don't care where you got your boots from. And even worser than that, I feel like a lot of these terms that have the word girl in it are infantilizing us. Being a girl's girl now is just basically being a sheep. Or girl dinner, like what the hell is girl dinner? I need 45 grams of protein in my meal minimum. I'm so sorry. Why are we normalizing malnutrition? Or I'm just a girl. Every time I hear someone say that, I actually want to like shit and throw up at the same time. So let's revisit our checklist. Is this extreme? Quite so. It is very extreme, and it's very black or white. You're either a girl's girl or you're a pick-me. Is this easy to digest? Yes, it is, because it's taken something valid and legitimate, which is the need for women to band together, and now it's disguised itself as something different. It's repackaged patriarchy disguised as women empowerment. And does it feed off of a frustration that women have and give us an easy solution? Absolutely. I speak for a lot of us when I say we're tired of being pitted against one another. We're tired of not having the unity that we deserve to have while men are out there blindly supporting one another no matter what. So it is frustrating to be fragmented in a world that is against all of us. But now it's easy to just publicly shame someone and say they're not a girl's girl and have them fall in line.
I'm not a girl's girl because I'm a womanist with praxis, all right? I have read books in this century. I find that the majority of women who use the term girl's girl, first of all, are infantilizing themselves. I am a grown-ass woman. I know that we all joke and say, I'm just a girl, I'm just a girl. No, I am a grown-ass woman who has read many, many books in this lifetime and is deeply committed to the liberation of my sisters. The term girl's girl, now I am seeing being simply used as a weapon to say, I don't like what you're doing, and therefore you are an enemy of us.
So at the root of all these butt crack ways of thinking is a legitimate concern or a legitimate thought process. It is embarrassing to have a boyfriend when he's a bum-ass guy who drags you down or doesn't respect you or doesn't even like you. It's legitimate to have women band together. That's bare minimum. But these ways of thinking have turned into soundbites, and at their core is an either-or thinking, is the false dichotomy. And even deeper than that is this us versus them mentality. Women versus men, women versus other women, girls versus pick-me's. When at the end of the day, it should be everyone against patriarchy. When the revolution comes, you're going to realize that we all have the same goal. We all need to have the same goal, which is to dismantle this fuck-ass system. And I'm tempted to say we've lost the plot, but the thing is, we're each the writers of our own plot. So stop letting people on social media write your plot for you. Exercise your critical thinking, don't take things at face value, question why, and if you want to consume content, consume long-form content. Like what you're listening to right now, you're already on the right track. But this video is going to be a lot more nuanced than a 30-second TikTok that is just giving you a soundbite and corrupting the ways that we see the world. And more than anything, what we all need to do to combat this brain rot is to read. The opposite of brain rot feminism is feminist literature. If you do one thing today or this week, go to a bookstore or go to the library and get a nonfiction book written by a woman and enlighten yourself. I just ordered the book When God Was a Woman, and I'm so excited to read it because so many of you have recommended it to me. Do we need to start a book club, by the way? I'm open to that. Let me know. So I'm going to end on that note. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Drop your book recommendations in the comments below, or if you got a book that you're excited to read, let us know what it is so we can get some recommendations and get the girlies reading. And I will see y'all in the next episode. All right, until next time, don't forget that you are the baddest bitch in any building that you step foot in. Until next time, stay bad. Love you. Bye. And I'd like to give a shout out to all the generous baddies who are supporting on Patreon and who support make this show possible. Shout out to Melinda, Lindsay, Danny, Nadine, Kate, Yelena, Via, Adriana, Amara, Wisal, Hannah, Amberly, Ildiko, Gemma, Amanda, Red, Sophia M, Sophia K, Ladenko, Melissa, Lisa, Nilufar, and Naomi. Thank you all so much for your support.
If you are with somebody I don't like, if you are doing something I don't like, you are not a girl's girl. That is how I'm seeing this term being used. It is a dog whistle to say, bitch, fall in line with my desires. Other way, I will name you an enemy of our values. And any bitch who read a book would never do that.